Guys, can you believe that it's been 2 years? 2 years. That's a really long time to do anything. So in case you missed the title of this video, we are going to be doing an Ask Me Anything based on questions you guys submitted on Instagram, Reddit, the YouTube comments, DMs, emails. You guys sent in a lot of questions, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to address them all today. But if you asked a question that I missed, or you didn't submit a question but have one now, let me know in the comments below, and I would be happy to do another Q&A very soon if that's something that you guys are interested in. All right, that's enough random talking. Let's get to the actual questions. First question was submitted by somebody on Reddit who did not like me. But I still wanted to answer the question because I think it is a fair one, even though it was asked with some questionable intent. And the question was, would you want to be sent to jail by someone who vlogged their law school experience? My answer is twofold. First, no, I would not like to be sent to jail, period. Jail is not a good time. I don't think anybody wants to be sent to jail by anybody. Maybe my answer is threefold, because also prosecutors don't send people to jail. Judges and juries do, often at the prosecution's recommendation, but the prosecutor doesn't actually have the power to send anybody to jail. So there's that. But let's get to the actual spirit of the question, which is an implication that because I have a YouTube channel, I'm not professional or responsible enough or something to that effect to be pursuing a career as a criminal prosecutor. And the way that I think about this is, first of all, my channel, if you've been here for any length of time, is very focused on education and information, much less than it is entertainment. And there are plenty of law school vloggers who do focus more on entertainment, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. And a lot of you really enjoy those YouTubers as well, and that's great. I do too. But I'm not a very entertaining person, and the reason that I started this channel was to be able to help people like me who were going to law school but didn't really know what questions to ask, certainly didn't know the answers to the questions that they could formulate and articulate, and just needed some extra help and guidance along the way about what law school was really like, what it would prepare them to do if it was the right choice for them. That's what my channel is about. And so if I'm gonna be sent to jail by anybody, I would like it to be somebody who is informed, who is honest, who does give a substantial amount of time out of their busy work week to help other people without a lot of personal gain. I'm not saying that to give myself a ton of credit that I don't deserve, but I guess what I'm saying is I think that I can be a prosecutor, and I don't think it would be insulting to a defendant, or at least should be insulting to a defendant, that I also have an educational YouTube channel. Not that I have any of the level of success as this YouTuber does, but I would compare it to somebody like Dr. Mike, who is a huge YouTuber, but is also a practicing doctor. I doubt his patients feel like they are being denied good health care because he has a YouTube channel. That was a lot of time that I just spent on a hater, so let's get to some good questions. First, what's one thing that you wish you knew before the first week of classes? Sorry I'm spinning so much. I just got this chair and I'm having a great time in it. Okay, one thing I wish I knew before the first week of classes. I'm guessing this means about law school. I actually did a whole video about this, which you can check out in the card if you want. But one thing that I would say, you are not going to be the exception when it comes to mental health. I don't know a single person in law school who doesn't have mental health problems. And I consider myself to be a pretty stable person. I have a great family, never had any big medical or mental health issues. I do fine in school. I have a pretty clear path of where I'm going in life, very strong sense of identity, pretty happy with how everything is going. But that doesn't make me immune to just the fact that law school is really freaking hard. I was watching Madison Rector's video yesterday about her mental health struggle in the last couple weeks. And I texted her and was like, girl, I get it. Like, there are days where reading a single page of a case is all that you can muster up the energy to do. And it's not okay that law school is built like that, but it's okay that you are going to respond to it like that, if that makes sense. That's not something I had addressed in that video because any mental health issues that I had faced up to that point, I believe were just due to the pandemic and the pandemic throwing everything off. But now that that has become a little bit more the norm, I mean, it's literally been almost a year. And I think at this point, it's just law school. And that's one thing that I would tell you, and one thing I would have told myself is to be prepared that this is gonna happen, and it doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. Now that I just complained about the detrimental effects of law school, let's move on to why did I pick Washu. Also did a video sort of on this, but I think that on top of the money, which was definitely a deciding factor, was the fact that Washu made me feel wanted. They went out of their way to pursue me as an applicant, to recognize the things that were important to me and point out the things about their school that would match those things that I cared about. That's ultimately why I picked Washu. They made me feel special and they gave me a lot of money. There were other reasons too, but those are the ones that set it apart. Okay. What are your plans for the summer? I will be going to North Carolina this summer to work in the Mecklenburg DA's office in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm super excited. The way that the North Carolina Constitution is set up basically results in there being a ton of bench trials, a lot of which are given to the summer interns. So there's a very good chance that I will be regularly in court this summer, that I will have a docket basically to do by myself under somebody's supervision. And I visited North Carolina once a couple years ago and absolutely loved it. So I've been dying to go back ever since then. I'm really, really excited. Did you ever consider attending an Ivy League? No is the short answer. I think I applied to one. There were a couple reasons that wasn't really a goal for me. First, that requires quite an excessive amount of studying for the LSAT that I just wasn't interested in putting in. But I knew the score that I needed in order to get to a school like Washu, which was perfectly suitable for where I want to be in life. Frankly, I don't need to go to an Ivy League to become a local prosecutor. You can, and I'm sure there's somebody out there who does, but that's a really competitive environment that seems super stressful for no really good reason. Sorry, my camera just died and I'm not totally sure when, so that last answer might have gotten cut off, but basically what I was saying is didn't want to be at the bottom of the curve, but still wanted to be around smart people, so Washu was great. And no Ivy Leagues. I think that was what we were talking about. What's one thing about the application process you wish you had known before you applied? I wish I had known everything I know now about personal statements. I did a lot of research before I wrote my personal statement, and I've done 2 videos on this, I think, in the past, like reviewing my personal statement and how I wrote it and everything. But now, having edited hundreds of your guys' personal statements, originally on Fiverr and now through my own website, which you can find in the description below, by the way, I feel like I am so much clearer on what a good personal statement looks like. I have seen a lot of them. I've seen a lot that are not very good, and I'd like to think that I've improved them. But yeah, I wish I had realized not just how important the personal statement it can be, but how to actually craft it so that it makes an impactful statement that really, trust me, is going to stand out. As a sophomore in college, is it too early to study for the LSAT? So I took the LSAT the summer before I applied. My first year began in the fall of 2019. Which meant that I needed to apply the fall of 2018. So I took the LSAT that summer. You can take it later than that, but I don't know that I would recommend taking it too much earlier than that. Maybe a little earlier that same year, but definitely not further back than the year before the one you're going to go to law school, right? Like, you should be taking the LSAT the same year that you're applying, is my point. So for most people, that's going to be their junior year of college or the summer right after their junior year. I don't think that you should be studying for the LSAT more than 6 months. I don't know that you should be studying even for that long, but 6 months would be the max, because it's really easy to burn out. If you haven't gotten to your max potential in 6 months, I don't know what else you can do to improve it. I think it's kind of just a waste of time to draw it out longer than that, which means that the earliest that you should start studying would be like the end of the summer between your sophomore and junior year. Now that I've done all this backwards math, yes, it is too early to start studying during your sophomore year. Enjoy your summer, and at the end of the summer and the beginning of your junior year, if you really want to start studying for the LSAT, that's when you can do it. I didn't start studying until the spring of my junior year, and I thought that worked well for me, but everybody's different. So fall or spring, junior year, that's when you should study. I got a couple other questions about the LSAT, especially through comments and emails, and I wanted to give you guys a quick tip on something that's going on in the LSAT. They are actually bringing the experimental section back, which has been gone for, I think, a year, ever since the digital LSAT came out. So I asked Steve Schwartz, our friend who's been on the channel for the last couple weeks now, to put together a really quick explanation of just what that means, and something that those of you who are going to be studying for the LSAT or taking it soon should keep in mind. So this is just going to be like 2 minutes. Those of you who are not studying for the LSAT anytime soon, or have already taken it, feel free to skip past, but here's a quick summary for those of you who this might be applicable to.
June 2021 is the last time the 3-section LSAT Flex will ever be administered. Starting in August, it's going to be 4 sections, so they're not calling it the LSAT Flex anymore. They are adding in a new unscored experimental section. This is not the first time the LSAT's ever had an experimental section, but it's the first time since COVID began. And so you've got to change fundamentally. Number one, start adding an experimental section to your practice tests whenever you take a full-length timed exam. You don't want to study with 3 sections when the LSAT in August and beyond is going to have 4 sections. It could be any one of logic games, logical reasoning, or reading comprehension, and it could be any position of first, second, third, or fourth. So don't just use logical reasoning for your experimental sections, because that's how the published 4-section exams happen to appear. They're only that way because the LSAT used to be 5 sections, 4 of which were scored, 1 of them containing that unscored experimental section. That's no longer the case, though. Your new online 4-section exam will have 3 scored sections, 1 unscored experimental. Doesn't have to be logical reasoning. Could be games, could be reading comp. So regardless, make sure you insert that unscored experimental section of any type and in any position. Number 2, use LSAC's Law Hub subscription to practice with the same style, the same look and feel you're going to have on test day itself. This is not changing. It's the same look and feel as it was for the LSAT Flex, and the same look and feel as it was for the digital LSAT on a tablet. So Law Hub is the best way to prep. Nothing else is even allowed to look identical to what you'll see on test day. So use LSAC's Law Hub. And no, they are not paying me to say this, but maybe they should. Anyway, number 3, insert that break after section 2. With the new online 4-section LSAT, there will be a break between sections 2 and 3, approximately 10 minutes, I'm guessing, and I've heard it's optional as well. I recommend taking it, though. Take it, stretch your legs, walk around a little bit, go to the bathroom, keep your energy level up.
Thank you, Steve, again, for being willing to film that for us. I do want to mention, again, really quick, that if you are studying for the LSAT or planning to start soon, we do have a limited time opportunity for you, details in the description below. If you're watching this video far in the future, it's probably not there anymore, sorry, but if you're watching this in 2021, sort of when this comes out, hopefully it's still there for you to take advantage of. So make sure you check that out if you're interested in additional help with the LSAT. It can be super important, and a little help goes a long way. We're done talking about the LSAT now. We're gonna talk about Jesus. Somebody asked me how and when I became a follower of Christ, and I'm told it was when I was 3. I don't remember that at all, so I don't have like a big story of how I came to faith or anything like that. I grew up in a Christian household, Christian parents, went to church, went to Christian schools. There's not a time in my life where I remember not being a Christian. And now as an adult, where I'm very far from my parents and not in a Christian environment whatsoever, especially with the pandemic, because I haven't been able to physically go to church, God is still the most important thing and person in my life. So even though it began when I was a toddler, I think of it as just like a steady growth, less than a 0 to 100. It's just kind of been like this. Well, maybe more accurately, like this. I'd like to hope that we're on an upward trajectory, but everyone has their moments. Speaking of which, somebody asked if I've ever doubted my religious beliefs, and I've kind of answered that already, but not really. I think that that's different than having questions and saying like, why do I believe this, or this thing in the Bible doesn't really make sense to me. I think that those questions of being sure that what you say you believe is actually what you believe, and you have a defense for it, you have a reason for it beyond like, that's just what I'm told. I think that's really important. So I've questioned my faith, but I haven't doubted my faith. What are your favorite hobbies? Right now it's pretty much just watching movies and playing guitar because I can't do anything else. But normally, I love going to amusement parks. I love swing dancing. I love theater and going to comedy shows. I really like hiking. I guess I could do that now, but I kind of live in the middle of nowhere and don't really feel comfortable going hiking by myself. What else do I do? Oh, I really like kayaking. I don't think I do it enough to call it a hobby, but like I would love for it to be a hobby, I like puzzles. I like playing Sudoku. I'm great at Sudoku. All the variations, like, hit me up. I like cooking, baking. I don't know if any of those things are interesting, but those are the things that I like. What's your favorite movie? Another question that I'm gonna have a very convoluted answer to, because I cannot pick a favorite movie. I'm a big movie person. Some of my closest friends don't find this out about me for a long time, which I find surprising, but I'm constantly watching new movies or watching my favorite movies over and over and over again. But I would say that the ones that I return to are What About Bob, which is a really underrated Bill Murray movie, The Princess Bride, which I've done a whole video about on this channel. I love This Means War, a very underrated Reese Witherspoon, Chris Pine, and Tom Hardy movie. I feel like I'm missing a super major one. If we're talking about Disney movies, I love Tangled, so much better than Frozen. Also another Disney movie, I really liked the live action Cinderella with Lily James. I thought that was super cute. I don't know, I love movies. If you ever want to talk about movies with me, I will do it. I love them. Maybe we'll do just a video for fun in the future sometime, a live stream, and we can all just geek out about movies. That'd be really fun. Are you still active in worship ministry? So I think somebody asked this who I used to go to church with, and I used to play the guitar with for the little kids at my church. So unfortunately, no is the answer. One, I don't play guitar nearly as much as I used to. That, helped me be good at that. But I also am never in one place long enough that I can really get established in worship ministry. I don't know if I would ever do it again, not because I didn't like it, just because it is a lot of time commitment, and I don't think I'm that good to play for anybody who isn't like in 5th grade. Yeah, the answer is no, but I really loved it when I was. What's something on your bucket list that has nothing to do with where you want to be in life? So I'm guessing this excludes career, family stuff. One thing I've always wanted to do, and I will not have that many opportunities to do it, so we've got to make it happen, is go to the Christmas play in Germany that is put on only once every 10 years. Apparently, like several hundred years ago, there was some plague or something that overtook the people in this very small town in Germany, and they prayed to God, and they said, if you'll take this away, like if you'll spare us, we will honor the story of you coming to Earth once every 10 years. And so ever since then, for hundreds of years, this has happened. And I think that because of the pandemic, the 2020 play got pushed to 2022. But I'm sure it will be back in 2030, and maybe I'll get to go. I think it's called like Obergamu. I don't know how to say that. That's so embarrassing. I hope that nobody who watches me lives in Germany. What values are important to you when dating? Well, it's been a minute since I've been dating. First of all is faith. Like, you've gotta believe the same thing as me. I know that's not important to everybody. I have mixed feelings about that, but for me, like, it's gotta be pretty much like dead on, at least at like the basic tenets of the faith. I've been asked, like, could I see myself dating somebody who is Catholic? And I really thought about it, and I don't think so. I mean, and it's not to say like that Catholics aren't Christians or that they're not good people or anything like that, but I think I'm so set in the central pillars of my faith that that's just not something I want to like negotiate with a life partner. I want us to be really like close knit on that particular aspect of life. Politics, to some extent, I'm not a very political person. I consider myself an independent, pretty moderate. I don't really care what somebody identifies as long as they have good reasons for it, you know? I don't think that there are good reasons for the extreme on either side, so that would probably be a deal breaker for me, but as long as you are somewhere in the reasonable range of the spectrum and can articulate why you're there and how it squares, especially with a Christian worldview, we're good. I think family is really important. Respect for family and integration of family. I'm a big believer in the saying that you're not just marrying the person, you're marrying their family. So it's really important to me that they would get along with my parents, that his family would accept me as another daughter, another sister. Like, that value of family integration is really important to me. There's probably more, but those are the main ones. What age do you want to retire, and what will you do? Honestly, like, I kind of don't want to live to be that old. So I don't know if I'd ever retire, but if I did retire, it would probably be for, pretty late in the game, as long as like I'm still with it, and I think I would be one of those people who like gives tours at like a garden or a museum or something. I would just need something to do that would still get me out of the house. What's your favorite way to de-stress? Probably watching movies right now. Normally, I mentioned this before, but I swing dance a lot, and that's really fun. So I don't always like feel like going swing dancing when I'm stressed out, but I always feel better after I do, All right, last question. What are 3 things you wish you knew about the law before going to law school? So I included this one because I think it's different than the ones that we asked about application or law school in general. This is about the law itself. So can you tell I've like done no preparation on my answers to these questions? That is a very bad YouTuber thing to do. One would be how often it changes. The law is so not set in stone. It is always changing, and that's one reason why there's no use at all in memorizing it, because it's gonna be different next month. So there's a lot of looking things up to make sure it's still what it was the last time you looked at it. The second thing would be how much legal research is involved, because I thought we know the rules for instance, what a jury can and cannot talk about while they're deliberating. I thought that that was like a thing that we had figured out by now. But no, because I have to do a research project on that this week. Because apparently we don't know. We don't know what juries can and cannot do, what is a basis for appeal. We have to look at what other courts have said that's sort of about this topic, and then decide what the rule should be from there. The third thing. I don't know what my third thing would be. Maybe I haven't learned it yet. Give you some context. It's 6:30 on Friday night, and I'm posting this Saturday afternoon, which means that I have to spend all evening editing this video, which, by the way, is about 50 minutes long because I didn't prepare, so I've just been like rambling for a long time, and I need to cut it down to be a palatable, chewable, what's the word for that? Consumable amount of content for you. So that was the last question, but I did want to give my mom a shout out because she really wanted to be in this video. She submitted not one, not two, but 16 questions. My favorite one, which she knows the answer to most of these, by the way, is something you kept a secret from your parents and now you will share. Come on, Mom, I don't keep secrets. Or do I? Other notable fun questions were from my brother, who asked who is your favorite sibling, and one of the members of my book club, who was featured in a video a couple weeks ago, who asked who my favorite book club member was. I really do appreciate everyone who sent in a question and participated in the making of this video. I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours, but like I said in the intro, please let me know if you want me to do another video with all of the questions I didn't have time for today, because I have enough for a whole other video. I'm so grateful to all of you for 2 years, for everything that's gonna come in the future, for I think over 1,500 subscribers at this point. You guys are awesome. I'm really grateful to have all of you, and I hope that I show it every week when I put out content for you to enjoy and learn from. Let me know if you have any ideas or suggestions for what you would like to see in the future. I always have a running list that I am working on and trying to determine what the best option would be given the time of year that we're in, given what people are asking about. Next week, I'm going to be doing a video on speech versus debate versus mock trial versus moot court, which are all programs that are usually encouraged for students who are interested in law school or any other kind of advocacy. They teach public speaking, but there's big differences between them. So as somebody who has competed in 2 of those 4 types of competition, I wanted to address them. I will see you guys then, and until next time, God bless.